Hey everyone. Man, there was a bit of a roller coaster that happened today, but I'll get into that very shortly. For now, I'm going to be talking about the beginning of my day and work my way up to that roller coaster. So let's go ahead and get started. So, when I woke up, I decided to get a bowl of ice cream, specifically Rocky Road that was in the freezer, and I ate that while drinking a cup of coffee that I brewed and watched a Digital Foundry video that was an analysis on the video game Resident Evil Requiem. Seeing how a game like that could run on such a low power device like the Switch 2 fascinated me. And seeing some of the compromises that the dev team did to try to get the game working was really something. Sadly, though, even though the game is striving for 60 frames per second, it usually only hits about, 60 in closed in areas, but any area where things start getting more complex starts dipping down into the 30s and even the 20s. Yeah, pretty rough. But yeah, after watching that, my sister woke up. Before she woke up, I realized I better make the other pizza crust today, otherwise it'll be too late. So I turned on the oven, and I actually turned it on a little earlier, like when I woke up. And then I got out the pizza dough. I formed it into a round circle on a disc-shaped tray, and then I let it sit there for an hour while I was watching the Digital Foundry video. Then my sister got up, I greeted her, I told her that I was working on the pizza. She said that seemed like a great idea. She then suggested that it may be a good idea to get things like mushrooms and, well, not mushrooms, sorry. Olives is what I meant to say. Olives, mozzarella cheese, more mozzarella, and maybe a little something extra. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Also, in the recipe I followed, the dudes, the brothers who made the pizza, suggested using anchovies in the onion, sauteed onion mixture instead of the bacon and the pepperoni. So I decided to get some, what were they called again? Sardines? No. Anchovies, sorry. So, yeah, we decided to go off to the nearest store. We picked up everything, and we drove back home. Anything interesting at all happened at the store? I think the most interesting thing that I could think of was that we saw they had some pre-made pizza boxes, and I decided to grab one to see what were the ingredients, and the list of ingredients just went on and on. Made me glad that we're making our own pizza, because at least we know what's being put into our bodies. So, yeah. After a restroom break and then leaving, we arrived back at home, where we began putting everything together. My sister chopped up a lot of veggies and mushrooms and olives, including onions that she then gave to me to saute in olive oil and with the anchovies. She suggested frying some bacon first before putting the onions and olive oil and anchovies in there, so I did that. 2 pieces. Once they were done, I gave them to her. She chopped those into itty bitty pieces, and she got some pepperoni and chopped that into itty bitty pieces, and put them with each other while I was finishing up sauteing the onions. And then I poured the chopped up pepperoni and bacon in with the onion mixture, and I mixed it up, and I have to tell you, this was some of the finest smelling mixture of sauteed onions I have ever smelled. And then I tasted a little bit, and they were some of the best tasting sauteed onions that I have ever tasted. It was incredible. Then I put the pizza, pre-made pizza, which had a little bit of a sauce that I took. I poured the sauce with a little bit of water, mixed it in. My sister poured some Italian seasoning, and we actually did this before leaving to grab the supplies. And I put that on the pizza because apparently if you put a little bit of flavored moisture on the pizza, it keeps the inside of the pizza from drying out, so it'll stay, not overtly moist, but moist enough to be really good. So once we had the pizza's toppings ready, I put the pizza in the oven for 435 degrees for 13 minutes for the pizza crust to harden first. And then after that, we took it out and we put the sauce on. We put the sauteed onion mixture on. We put the cheese, the pepperonis, olives, the onions, the mushrooms, the bell peppers, and then we put another layer of cheese, which was fresh mozzarella, shredded mozzarella, and I think a fettuccine cheese, or feta cheese, yeah. And then we put that in the oven at 435 degrees for 15 minutes. And we actually took it out 2 minutes early because it looked like the crust was starting to brown a little bit, but we got it out just in time. We cut up a slice. I asked my sister to film a video of me biting into the pizza and giving it a honest review. I basically said that the recipe did call for the pizza dough to be put in the refrigerator to rise over the course of one day. And I was expecting the flavor profile to be significantly different when I tried it out. And I have to say, this pizza definitely was more flavorful. But the crust itself, not too big of a flavor profile change. I'd say it probably tasted slightly more fermented due to the dough just being in the fridge for a little longer than usual, but nothing that I would classify as oh my gosh, this changes everything. No, nothing like that. Well, anywho, after we got our slices and my sister took her bites and she liked it so much she got 2 slices, as well as me, I also got 2 slices because it tasted very fresh and very flavorful. We both sat in the den with our Pepsi's Zero Sugar, and then we watched an episode of Pushing Daisies. And in this episode, it was season 1, episode 4, where the characters are out in front of the restaurant for the show, which is called the Pie Hole, which I think is hilarious. And there's this lady who's jealous of the dude who is infatuated with another lady who was his childhood sweetheart. But there's this whole thing where the childhood sweetheart actually died and he brought her back to life, but then he didn't bring her, back to death, and so someone else died in her place. And so she is filled in, and now there's this whole thing where they love each other, but they can't touch each other, because if he touches her again, even after bringing her back to life, she will die. So it's a pretty crazy little story going on. But the whole plot is that there's another lady who works at the Pie Hole restaurant who loves the guy who runs it, but that guy loves his childhood sweetheart, but he can't really be super intimate with his childhood sweetheart. So it's a bit of a twisty-turvy situation. And then randomly a pigeon dies and falls into in front of the place, and the guy pokes the pigeon accidentally, doesn't mean to. Like the lady played by Kristen Chenoweth, who is the one who likes the guy, but the guy doesn't really find her. He's not interested in her that way. Yeah, the pigeon rubs like against his shoulder accidentally and is brought back to life, and this causes like the lady to go, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy," and and then afterwards, a squirrel dies because the guy can't prove his powers in front of her because he believes she doesn't know about it, and then like another bird dies in that bird's place, and then a plane ends up hitting a nearby location, and then the group goes up the building where the incident happened, and they get into this really deep conspiracy where the pilot was brought down by like this evil man. But that's around the point when, and then it gets into some fun situations where like the girl trips, and because the main character can't touch her because she would die if he did, he avoids keeping her from falling, and then the lady ends up being kept from falling by this suave looking dude, and like it causes the main character to go, "Oh my gosh, no, I love her, why, this is terrible." And then they end up the detective and the dude decide to go on a little investigative work where they go to the morgue, find the bodies that were deceased from the whole plane incident, and they try to get answers to see what's going on. They ultimately end up finding out that the guy who kept the lady from falling, the childhood sweetheart lady, is actually the main villain, but the guy's trying to be all get all intimate with the lady, but the lady's like, fine. At one point, she finds him a little uncomfortable, but at the other point, like, he grabs her hand and she says, like, it feels nice that, like, she has some kind of contact with another individual because she can't have contact with her true love. And so she just imagines that the guy is her true love. And, but then, like, the detective and the guy who runs the pie shop come in and like, "Oh my gosh, he's the bad guy, let's stop him." And the guy's trying to leave, and they get in a little chase. And that's where we stopped. Because I needed to go off, and I was going to, I did end up donating blood plasma again today. So I told my sister I'm going to leave, I'm going to go. And I left. As I was driving, I was listening to some music, and eventually when I arrived at the donation center, I was so into the music that I closed my car door and didn't really realize that I didn't turn off my headlights. So when I went in, I filled in the questionnaire, I took the screening tests, I passed, and then I donated my plasma, and then I left. I noticed my car still had its headlights on when it was in idle mode, and that meant that when I turned the key, the car would not start. So I was like, oh no. So I called my mom and our family friend and asked them if they could arrive and they could help me give my car a jump start. They agreed, so they drove off to help me out, which I was very grateful for. And as they were driving on their way, I was doing some research to try to find out how to get the car jump started. Eventually they arrived, and I opened the hood. I had some jumper cables. I connected the positive to the positive and the negative to what I thought was a separate piece of metal. And then our family friend was using her car, so we tried to connect the jumper cables to her battery as well. And despite her putting on the car and trying to turn it on and us getting my battery charged, nothing was happening. I tried turning it on. It made that little drum beat sound. And yeah, we didn't know what was wrong. So we tried to call. Well, we didn't try. We called an insurance car company to come and save the day. And when they eventually arrived, they took a look at the jumper situation, and they told me, well, there's your problem. You had what was supposed to be connected to a metal area connected to plastic instead. And that was on my end, the dead car. So yeah. It turns out that I didn't have it connected to an actual metal area, so that didn't give my car the proper jump and charge it needed to get going. So we could have started it with our family friend's car, but because I connected it to what I thought was plastic, I thought we needed the AAA to come and save the day. But they still ended up saving the day regardless, because they had a little jumper pack that they connected to my car, asked me to start it, turned it on, and I was good to go. So my mom and family friend left, and I started the car, and I went off on my way to get home. But there was one bit of research that I found out when I was reading about what happens when your car's battery dies, and that's that in order for your alternator to come up with enough energy to get your car to start the next time you want it to start, it is highly recommended to drive your car for 30 minutes, preferably between like 30 to 60 miles an hour, on appropriate roading, of course. So that way your car's alternator gets enough juice to load up the battery and tap it off for another ride. So even though the car trip took about 18 minutes, I decided to continue driving for another 12 minutes to have that insurance to fully load up the car's battery. And when I eventually was able to charge it, I arrived home. I got out of my car. I greeted my mom, family friend, and my sister who were watching a show, and I'm forgetting the name of it, but they were a second episode into the show, and I was like, yeah, I'm good. I don't want to watch that. It doesn't look like my thing. I'd rather watch a guy talk about the debate of whether video games are art or not instead, from a YouTube channel called Narrow. It's actually the video that's up on the screen over there right now. It's a really well written, well put together video, and I really am enjoying it so far. But I made some tea with black tea, honey, and half and half. I got a piece of cake that my sister made, which was really good. It was like a strawberry cake with white frosting with rainbow sprinkles and a little bit of pink frosting in the middle. And yeah, I had that with the tea while watching the video. That was really nice. And then I decided to ask my sister for some Cheetos. She said yes, even though, like, yeah, she did say, like, but I thought you ate Cheetos this morning from me. Like, yeah, but kind of want some now. And I was like, okay, but okay. And they say, don't worry, I'll just do it for this single serving. It's like, all right. So I did it for only the 27 grams. And there was still plenty of Cheetos there. Then she complained that her stomach hurt. And then I said, see, you need help eating those Cheetos so you don't get a lot of tummy aches. Jokingly, so yeah, that was pretty funny. Then I got a Pepsi Zero Sugar. I went in my room. I continued to watch the Narrow video before I was like, oh, I haven't done any brain jam or any art today. What should I do? So I went on my computer. I did about a half hour of brain jam. I haven't done any art today, and to be honest, I'm not gonna do anything after recording this video for now because I'm tired. I want to go to bed. But rest assured, tomorrow I will do 40 minutes of line work or art practice, whichever one floats my boat. But yeah, I then decided to take my vitamins, brush my teeth, and put away the rest of the remaining homemade pizza and clean the pizza pan. And then I found some socks in the den. I took them to our family friend, asked them if they were hers. She said yes. And I asked if she wanted me to put them anywhere. She said to hand them over. And I'm like, okay. And then she told me this joke that she heard about, like, it was like a guy who was drunk at the bar and these dudes tried to get him to, like, the hospital. The guy kept on falling down over and over again till eventually they arrived at the hospital and the nurse asked, "Where's his wheelchair?" And all the guys looked dumbfounded. And yeah, that was the joke. It was pretty funny, pretty silly. Yeah, and then I went, grabbed my phone, and decided to record this update video. That's pretty much the day in a nutshell. Overall, I would say it was pretty good. There was some mishaps along the way that made today a little bit on the annoying side. But I am glad that everything ended up working out. I'm really grateful to my mom and family friend for taking the time to go out and help me start my car. Very deeply grateful for that. Grateful for my sister for helping me make the pizza and make that delicious cake. And I am grateful that I get to live another day on planet Earth. So that's pretty much it for now. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, and have a good night.